Hello and welcome to episode 20 of Stucky's Travels. Today we're going to bring you to Brunei.
So you'll need your passport, you'll need your hepatitis A, hepatitis B, and typhoid shot, and away we go.
So here's where the country Brunei is.
It's on the island of Borneo. The island of Borneo is made up of the country of Brunei, part of East Malaysia, and part of Indonesia. Indonesia actually has thousands of islands, but this is one. There are many places you could fly from to get to Brunei. We were in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, so that's where we flew out of to get over to Brunei, and it was a longer flight than I expected. I believe it was about 2.5 hours.
Now Brunei is an oil-rich country. It's got so much oil, as a matter of fact, that they've kept the prices of gas the same since 2008. Converts to about a dollar for a per US dollar per gallon. In fact, there was a day in 2011 that the government decided to make the price of gasoline more equal to what everyone else in the world was paying, just to show everybody the great rate that they were getting.
So over on the far western part, the star that you see in Brunei is a monument for the billionth barrel of oil that was produced in that region. So it kind of puts into perspective how much oil this country of only about 500,000 people, that's approximately the size of Delaware, how much oil is coming from that country.
Now, most of the time we're going to spend around the other stars because this is where the capital was, Bandar Seri Begawan.
So if you can notice the red outline, that shows the country. So there's actually two sections of the country. So if you leave and want to drive east from the capital, you're going to be going through Indonesia and then back into Brunei and then back into Indonesia and then over into East Malaysia. So it's so many border crossings that even though you could drive, the time it would take to go to East Malaysia driving, it just makes sense to either take a ferry boat or even more sense just to fly. It was a reasonably priced, approximately $30 flight that took about 45 minutes.
So here's the currency in Brunei, just like here, the dollar, but it was a little confusing because it wasn't exactly a 1-to-1 US dollar per Brunei dollar. It was 1 to 1.4. So every 5 US dollars, you'd get about 7 Brunei dollars.
And you can see a couple of pictures of the money that have the Sultan's picture on them, and then the flag for the countries in the bottom right hand corner.
Again, all sorts of very delicious and unique foods that Americans aren't really used to.
The middle picture on the bottom, Luke had gotten lemon curry, and most curries I think of as being quite spicy, and so I'm always hesitant to try them. But this one he had me try, and it was actually not spicy at all. It was really quite delicious. It gave me a whole new perspective on curry. They did have fast food places as well. The top middle picture with the corn is the chicken bowl from KFC. And then we'd heard rumor that the Jollibee, which served yum burgers, had sweet spaghetti. It made me think of the movie Elf with putting the maple syrup on top. So we had to, of course, try it. It was not really sweet like we had heard.
Yeah, just make sure you don't order the hamburger because they are beef burgers, not hamburgers.
So one of the markets that we went to was the night market in Gadong, and as you can see, there was fresh fish, and then in the bottom right corner,
This was the roti john. The roti john was surprisingly delicious. It's basically an omelet sandwich, but what they did was they put sweet chili sauce, which was normally fairly spicy, and mixed it with mayonnaise on there. And what it did was kind of made it a sweet, spicy taste on top of the eggs, and it was just in a nice long sandwich, used as breakfast, but also as a snack food. And it was really cheap too.
so one of the places that we visited was the Royal Regalia Museum. This was actually created by the Sultan for him to display some of the things that have been given to the country or to him over the years.
Yep. So we weren't able to take a lot of pictures just in the main entrance area, but there were probably millions of dollars of gifts that had been given to him by all sorts of kings and presidents around the world.
Yeah, it was pretty strict when we went inside. We had to put all of our belongings, our camera, our phones, everything into lockers and not be able to take it into the museum. So again, like Miles said, these pictures were taken out in the main foyer, just showing one of the chariots that belonged to the Sultan.
And then some of the other things, shields that are used in some of the parades and marches.
And I'm not exactly sure what ornate things in the bottom right corner, but just trying to show the variety of the different things that were displayed in this museum. So there were mosques, but there were also some Chinese, a little bit of a Chinese influence. So I believe about 80% of the population of Brunei is Muslim, but there are 10% that practice, I think, Hindu, and around that much that practice Buddhism. So this is a temple from one of those.
Yep.
The two pictures on the right are pictures taken from inside of that temple.
And then the picture on the left is the mosque that was built by the 28th Sultan, which was the past Sultan. The top dome is made in pure gold. Cost of this mosque was around $7 to $9 million. But it's really gold foil. If it were actually fully gold, it would weigh too much and it would obviously implode.
The Sultan of Brunei, though, the current Sultan, is worth about $20 billion. So one of the things that you see when you're standing on the shore of the mainland is you're looking across the Brunei River and you're seeing Kampong Air, which is considered, I believe, one of the world's largest water villages. So the people have to take a boat to get over to their home, and all of the homes in the village are on stilts in the water. So this is the backside of the mosque that Miles was talking about earlier that was created by the 28th Sultan. So we took a boat ride. The main goal of the boat ride was to go and find some proboscis monkeys. We'd seen prices online that were as much as $25, $30, $50 per person for a boat ride to go see these monkeys. And we did not buy one of those online tickets. Like we always say, oftentimes it's much cheaper to just go to the spot where you might be getting in the water and see what happens. And so we were able to see a person in a wooden boat. It did help a lot that we had Amira with us who could speak the language, so they could communicate back and forth and negotiate a deal. And he took us for about 23 US dollars total for 4 people to see the monkeys. And I tried to communicate, is this guaranteed that we'll see the monkeys? And he said, yes, we'll see monkeys. So a really, really great deal. It was the off season, so you might have to pay more than that, but you can probably find someone that will take you for $20 per person or less, even when a lot of the things you'll see, it might be way more than that.
So this gives you an idea of some of the boats that they use to take people on tours and the number of people that probably go on these tours during the high season.
So there they are. We found them. Really, really famous in Borneo. People try to go all over Indonesia, East Malaysia, and Brunei to see the proboscis monkeys. These didn't have quite as big of noses. They were probably juveniles, but still an amazing experience to find them.
Yeah, the proboscis means nose, and so the true proboscids would be the elephants. But the proboscids, as they get older, the nose gets larger and larger and just kind of hangs in front of their face.
So we were lucky to find several, and our boat driver was content with just once we would find them, was content with just letting us sit and watch them and take pictures and watch them play with each other, watch them run around on the tree branches, and it was a really neat experience. I highly recommend it. So on the left is actually a gift from the people of Brunei to the Sultan for his 60th birthday.
And on the right is the Rippus Bridge, just a modern bridge that costs a lot of money.
So this is the newer mosque created by the 29th Sultan. So it has 29 golden domes on its top, as Miles was referring to earlier with the 28 from the previous Sultan, one greater. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. The pictures don't really do it justice.
And we weren't allowed to go inside the mosque ourselves, but luckily Amira was. So we have some very nice inside pictures coming up.
So that's a peek of what the inside looks like. And then beautiful courtyards outside, really, really well kept, ornate. Just again, the pictures don't quite do it justice.
Beautiful staircase.
So one of the next things we did is we headed to a recreation area on the left-hand side. This is like reflexology. These rocks were, I thought, very sharp. I stepped on them for about 2 seconds and was finished, but Luke, Miles, and Amira all made it all the way down. So apparently the locals walk on this and it's great for their feet and body, and I don't really understand how.
Pain is good. But then we were able to go to, in the same park, walk back to a waterfall. So, very beautiful park.
It's called
Tasik.
Tasik Lama. Tasik Lama. Yep.
Yep.
So then we got a ride to this beach area. It was also a forest preserve as well as it had a biodiversity park. So interestingly enough, on Friday, they have a very, very strict rule about everything closing from noon to 2. This is the day of the time for prayer. And, you know, even though 20% of the population is not Muslim, everyone has to stop working. That means everything closes down. So, like even KFC, all the restaurants, the the equivalent of Uber is called Dart in Brunei. Even our Dart driver wasn't allowed to drive after 12 or before 2. So we got dropped off just before 12, luckily, and then we spent 2 hours exploring and weren't able to find a new driver until 2. And there were workers within the park who were just taking a nap during that time.
Yep. And one restaurant wouldn't even let us in to eat, and it was about 11:10 because they thought we might take too long. And KFC kind of pushed us out a little after 11:30.
But it was a beautiful ocean beach, so it was a nice spot to spend a couple of hours.
We got to hike a little bit. You can see a trail on the left.
And then on the right, the silverleaf monkey. This was another great experience because we were just on our own. We weren't with any sort of guide. We weren't with any locals. We were just walking on the trails, heard something, and we're like, oh my goodness. And then there were these silverleaf monkeys.
Yeah, now the babies are actually bright orange, and as they get older, most of them turn to this darker color. Some of them stay that orange color though.
We did not see any orange ones,
I
but
did not.
very, very cool. I actually got frightened because I thought they were coming towards me at one point, so everyone laughed at me, but they seemed as if they were gonna come after me, and we were just there by ourselves.
Yep.
So, really great experience in Brunei. We weren't there for very long. There's a lot more exploration that really could be done, but I think we covered a lot of territory for the time that we had and could go back again someday for more explorations of the natural creatures living in Borneo.
Yep. All right. Until next time, thank you.